Hello and welcome to this B1 Usability Package e-learning session. My name is Rasmus Wolf Jensen and today's topic will be B1 Budget Advanced, where we'll be looking into how to enter the actual budget values into the system. Okay, so here we are in Business 1, and as you can see I have a lot of set up budgets from the previous session. And I added a few more so we can see some information on how these different entries actually works. So I just added a full dimension that is taking all the 3 dimensions and items. One that's only taking it on sales employee, on project, and on profit center. So let's go in to see the entry, which again will be under financials, B1 budget entry. So before we can enter data, we need to choose which budget we want to enter data for. That makes sense. And if I take one of the budgets that does not have any dimensions, you will see that these fields are just disabled and we do not need to do any additional selections. So if we press OK, it will open up where we can enter the data. If we, for example, take one that uses the sales employee as dimension, you will see that sales employee opens up and I need to choose a sales employee either between the ones we have in the database, and as you can see, if I try to do it without actually choosing a sales employee, I will get a no sales employee selected. For project it's the same, it will open up the project and I need to choose my projects, and for profit center it's exactly the same way. I need to choose a profit center. If I choose multiple, in this case it's a full dimension, so I'm taking all 3, you'll see all 3 open up and I need to choose a combination of saying no sales employee, Canada, where there's no profit center. That is a combination, while another combination will be this, another combination will be this. So you have a lot of combinations, the more dimensions you put onto the system. And again, you need to choose every one of the dimensions you have set up in order to be able to go into the budgets. But let's take one of the simple ones. Let's take sales employee, and let's say we want to see the values of the no sales employee. We press OK, and what we get up is an empty screen where we can begin to enter our values for that dimension equals the no sales employee, as we can see here. Right now we don't have anything set up for this budget, so we don't see any data. There's simply no items shown in the screen, so we can't do anything right now. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go up and say display items with no budget. So we will need to see every single item and then make our choice on which of them we will actually make a budget for. So if we press that, we will see the different items in the system. And that will only be the ones, of course, set it up as include in B1 budgets. That was the use defined field on the different items we could set. So now we need to do our educated guesses on how much we actually can sell up the different items. So let's say we know the central printer, that's a hot item. We know we want to have a budget of 10,000 on that. As you can see, as soon as I enter the value, it is automatically included. But if I want to have one of the items, for example, I don't know the budget of this, but I want to have it in the report anyway, so I can make some educated guesses later on what the budget should be. I can simply just press include and I don't need to specify a value. I can go on and choose the different ones. Let's say it's 20,000 for this item and so on. So if I press update now, it will save the data. Okay, we are now saved. And what would happen if we already had some values on these items? We will get the actual value that is for, in this case 2010, right now. As you do budgets in advance, you might normally not see any value here for actual, because if this was a budget for 2011, you are not about to enter any sales invoices yet for that. But as you go along, you can use this as a kind of mini report on how it's actually going for the different values. But of course we have the reporting later as well. So this was the simple entry, but it might be that your items should have different variables. This is just saying I want to earn 10,000 for this item during 2010. But it could be that you know it's a seasonal item, it's something only purchased at the end of the year. So you might expect you only sell a few of them in the first quarter, a few more in the second quarter, and so on. Or it might be something only sold in the summer, so you can set up different. So you expect not to sell much in January and December, but a lot in June. In order to distribute it over the months, you have the distribution methods that we saw in the previous session, where we have the equal, ascending and descending order as default. And in the previous session I made a summer method where the mid-months were the ones actually giving where we expected to sell them. So this is just a quick way of distributing it out into the different year. But if you want to, I can actually go in and set this on month level simply by double clicking on the line. And here we can see that our 10,000 is now divided into the different months. And because the summer distribution method said that in the middle of the month it should be the highest, we see that the values are around 1,000 in the mid-months, while in January and December they are lower. Now I can go in and say, okay, I know exactly that I'm expecting 300 in January, then 500 in February, and so on. So I can go in and set the exact values for each month if I want to. Of course, the months should sum up for the same amount as total. So I need to make sure I get the correct values. And if I just want to say, okay, now I'm good, I can simply say update differences. And what happens is it will take the differences and adjust the December value in order to get a match between these values and the total value. But it's entirely up to you to get it fixed, so we can say actually go in and say I want to earn every single dollar of this in December, so I could put in 10,000 in this and 0 in all the other months. Again, all depending on how you actually sell your items. So once done, we update it, and as you can see, it will now turn into a manual value here. Let's update, and we can go back and do entry for another budget as well. And they work exactly in the same way. This concludes this session. For training material, please go to service.boyum-it.com/education. Or if you want a free demo of the product, go to license.boyum-it.com/b1up. If you want to contact us, you can do it either by our sales email or our support email. Thank you for attending.